Tyson Foods is shutting down 4 more plants. Let's discuss. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another coffee rant with Dano here. Today we are drinking the original Donut Shop coffee, one of my favorites. Been taking a break from it for a little while to test and taste some other coffees. If you have to hit pause to get your coffee together, this will be a lengthy video. This is a very important subject that we have to discuss here. So Tyson Foods is shutting down 4 plants, 4 chicken plants that are small American towns here. I mean, I don't even know really what to say about this. We just got the news this morning. A couple of you have reached out to us, and I had to discuss it. And for those of you who don't know, it's 4 different plants that are going to be affecting that are going to be shutting down at the end of 2023 and 2024. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe down below. Hit that bell notification so you are updated, so you are notified every time we put out one of these breaking news alerts, because things that we put out on the channel usually have a lot to do with food and rising costs in food shortages, everything to keep you in the know of what's going on. And guys, this is an important one. And what I don't like about this at all is that you have very small towns that are relying on these jobs. They don't have many other jobs. Okay, now I'm going to be reading from Reuters here. Happened today. Chicago, August 7th. Reuters reports Tyson Foods is shutting 4 more chicken plants in Arkansas, Indiana, and Missouri to cut costs, a blow to small communities in the U.S. heartland that depend on the meat packer for nearly 3,000 jobs. 3,000 jobs. Boy, I'll tell you what. That is, I don't know. They go on to say the company which reaped big profits, which we know, the company that reached big profits as meat prices soared and still soaring during the COVID-19 pandemic, is now adjusting to a decline and to slowing demand for some products. Tyson closed 2 other chicken plants in Arkansas and Virginia, which was almost 1,700 employees this year. I don't know why they say almost, it was. And has laid off corporate employees as well. I like how they throw that in there, which they're probably at another plant somewhere across the country getting paid for, probably assuming they're getting paid for living costs and all that other stuff. Not sure, but that's how we usually see things. Anyway, they go on to say the decision by Tyson, the largest U.S. meat producer by sales, to shutter facilities surprised and saddened local officials who said the 4 plants have been fixtures for more than 50 years. So probably more than a handful of people probably getting ready to retire. Tyson said it will move the work done at the closing plants located in North Little Rock, Arkansas, Corydon, Indiana, Dexter, Missouri, and Noel, Missouri, to newer facilities closer to its customers. The plants are slated to close in late 2023 and 2024, but we all know how this works. People aren't going to move, and the thing is they have families. They have families that are in these small towns. Now, I mean, I understand, you do what you have to do, but at the same time, what's going to happen to these small communities? How are they going to survive? How are they going to be able to build upon what they've done? I know one of these towns, and it goes into it here in a minute here, but one of these towns has like 2,000 people, where there's like 800 people that are employed at Tyson. And you're just taking that away? Why can't you piece out some things across some of the bigger plants that you have? I don't really understand this. But, they do what's easier for them. And, it's a business. I get it. But look at the people you're hurting. It's not cool. The 4 facilities account for about 10% of Tyson's chicken slaughter capacity. Chief Financial Officer John R. Tyson told analysts on a call. Now, let's talk about that for a second. 10% doesn't sound like much. 10% is huge when you're working for a company that doesn't just provide for 10% of Tyson named products. As most people know, Tyson has other chicken products that they put a different name on that's paid for it or whatever, but they're still processing that chicken for other places. Whether, it's hard to tell. They don't really name which ones they are. Some of them are kind of led in a different direction, but they're still coming from the Tyson plants. You could probably look it up and find out which ones they are. Some people have said Aldi, the Kirkwood chicken, is actually Tyson chicken. I've actually tried to look that up before, and I couldn't find any information on it, so I don't know if they just do a good job of hiding that. But let me know down in the comments if there's any of these, which companies are run with Tyson that are using their chicken in your stores, because that 10% adds a much more variety, a much more bigger number than just the Tyson name itself. But the company employs roughly 1,500 workers at the facility in Noel, tucked in Missouri's southwest corner. Mayor Terry Lance says the city population is about 2,100 people. So I was a little mistaken there. That is 1,500 workers in a population of 2,100 people. Wow. Whew. I don't know. I mean, where do they find jobs? You're in a town of 2,100 people, and 1,500 of them are employed with your company at Tyson. I don't know. Quote, "It's going to impact the city pretty hard," Lance said. About 683 people work at the facility in Dexter. That's the one I was thinking of. A city with a population of about 8,000. So maybe not as big of a blow to them as it is the one in Noel. Still pretty big, though. I mean, that's, 8,000 people really ain't that many people either. And you knock out 700 jobs, that's going to hurt. City Ambassador David Wyman said he hopes to connect with workers with other local employees so they don't leave town. That's what we were just talking about, because that's what it's going to cause. If Tyson says, well, you can come out here and work in California or wherever their next biggest plant is, and, we'll take care of you. Well, you're not taking care of us by getting rid of this job. So what else is there? And I think you're going to have a lot of people that are, asking that question. And that's probably what Tyson wants. Tyson probably doesn't want the employees because they're talking about cutting costs, right? Cutting costs, shutting down the plant. Maybe you create business in somewhere. We've seen companies do that before, but we've already seen 2 plants closed by Tyson, which has hurt a lot of other towns. So we have to assume that this is just going to go away and that people aren't going to go anywhere. So, we'll just have to see what happens with that. But at the same time, I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens. But they go on to say Tyson's decision has already put on hold Dexter's planning for a new wastewater treatment plant that could cost $18 million. The city had been working on this project with plant management. And that's the scramble, right? That's the scramble. You don't want your town to fall apart. So you're looking for every which way that you can create new jobs for these people so that they can have a smooth transition. Isn't going to be a smooth transition, unfortunately. And our thoughts and prayers go out to all of the families involved. If you're watching this right now, sorry that this happened. You would not expect a huge, massive company like Tyson Chicken to do something like this, especially when, they talk about the need and all that stuff and the who's going to stop eating chicken, right? I understand you have to fit things with the times and be able to create new outlets for yourself to save money. I don't know. So many things that I want to say that I probably shouldn't on the channel here, so we'll keep that quiet. Might open up about that here in a few minutes. We'll see. The closure, and this is the domino effect that I always talk about on the channel. Before we do, I got to take a sip of this coffee because, it's frustrating. Okay. The closure also affects about 29 local farmers who own chicken houses to supply the facility, along with grain growers who provide chicken feed. That's one town. That's Dexter. And this is what's happening. This is affecting farmers. It's affecting everything else. It's affecting the feed, right? Feed is going to go up in price. This is going to cause more prices to go up. You think Tyson chicken is high now, it's gonna go through the roof. You start taking away things, other places, demand is gonna be up. You'll have places like Meijer, which I actually went to Meijer this morning. And they had some good sales on chicken. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, we do a lot of these shopping videos where we show you ways, all the different sales on how to save money and all the good products that people are always asking about that are looking on ways to save good money. Meijer has good chicken. Meijer has good chicken, and that is not Tyson chicken. So I know some people were saying it is, but it is not. Tyson declined to say how many plant employees will be affected. Of course. It said it will help relocate workers and encourage them to apply for other positions at Tyson. Meaning that they are full of what they're going to put of your job before. So maybe if they need a janitor or something, you might get a job. Just start looking now, guys. If you are one of the ones involved in this, start looking for something else. I know that is sickening to say. If you have like a year or two left to where you can retire through Tyson, or maybe get out early on some of this deal or something, maybe work something out. I don't know, but it's going to come down to, if you can't retire, if you're not close to retire, you may just want to consider doing something else. And I know that's very hard to swallow. That's very hard to breathe in and realize, especially, if you have a family, trying to provide for a family, and now this is happening. And I wouldn't hesitate. I wouldn't wait. Don't wait till the end of the year. Get started on it now. Merrick, I don't know, guys. We're as I've said in these last few rants here, we're in trouble. Things like this happen, and they can happen like that. And then all of a sudden, not only are millions of people going to be affected by this, and I say millions because they will. These things are going away. Prices are going to go up. I know you would think that prices would go down because of this, but that is not true, because there is going to be supply and demand. They're not going to have the extra work that people are putting in. Therefore, they're putting pressure on other employees, with more workload. We see this all the time. It's causing people to quit and go work for Amazon. There you go, guys. Go work for Amazon. That's what everybody else is doing. When the whole world shut down, and all the bartenders and people working, at restaurants, and waiters and waitresses, they all went to work for Amazon, right? And they're making $25, $30 an hour now. So maybe look into something like that, or DHL, or, I don't know. If that's my thoughts. Like, if something like this happened to me, that would be my thoughts, is I have to relocate my family because this town is going to be dust here in the next couple months, right? Because the biggest company, one of the biggest companies in America, is now leaving, which was already small in our town to begin with. How much money was it really costing them? So I'm saying there's something more to this than meets the eye here. So anyway, let's force through it here. These moves, quote, "These moves are difficult, certainly," quotes CFO Tyson said in an interview. "For the long term of Tyson, this is a move that should allow us to be better, more efficient, and serve our customers better." How are you not serving them better? That's my point. That's my thing. You go into... there I go. See? Ranting. Perfect for this. Might be one of the loudest rants I've ever had on this channel before. CEO Donnie King said on the call with analysts, the plants are typically smaller and in need of major capital to make them viable. Lies. Whatever. The thing is that whether they're lying or not, it doesn't matter. They're closing. We have to work through it. We got to get through it, if there's anything that we can say in this world and in our country here, is that we're used to things failing by now. It's amazing how fast things can collapse in just a couple years. So by now it's like, okay, just another brick in the wall here, right? you have to keep moving forward. We got this in place. This happens. Now we got to figure out something else. It's the story of the last few years here. I don't know. When large corporations, quote, when large corporations make business decisions like this, there simply isn't much we can do, said Bruce Cunningham, who is the town manager of Corydon, another one affected here. Quote, the decision has been made, and it is up to us to move forward. I mean, all the right words, I guess. All the right words. But I'll tell you what, guys, this is something. This is something, because these things keep happening on a yearly basis. We keep seeing companies that are just failing their employees. We're seeing it, like, we already deal with enough problems with employee shortages and all these things. People who don't want to work. Or is that the case? We see things where, like, a lot of different companies, and I'm not going to name any, but it's companies that we frequent, where they're cutting hours. They're saying that they're hiring all the time, and we're hearing that they're actually cutting employees' hours, right? I mean, so why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you cut employees' hours? Well, that probably affects insurance. You probably don't get as good of insurance if you don't have your 40 hours a week. And it's only hurting the people that want to work. Your employees that are working 40 hours a week are your loyal employees. The one that goes and shows up and then wants to leave 2 or 3 hours later, doesn't show up at all. I feel like they're getting treated better than the people who are your hardest workers. I mean, eventually what's going to happen in the future is things are going to collapse at such a short, they're collapsing small right now. But you don't have small effects without big disasters. Right? You have all these little problems, right? You let all these little problems gang up on you, and then all of a sudden, you're closing down plants. And I'm not saying that, maybe there was nothing they can do. Maybe they're not selling as much Tyson chicken as they had originally thought they would by now. But this is a major problem. Major problem. We have the Yellow Trucking Company, which has gotten rid of, they're done. They're done. 30,000 employees, and that's massive. That's a lot of people. But I don't just look at the massiveness of what one job destroys, right? Because they say that this is only going to affect 3,000 people, which I feel it's going to affect a lot more than that. And that's not just the employees that are working at the company. That's the number that's working at the company in these 4 small towns, or where the 4 small plants are. But I feel like that number might be a little small. But when you look at how that is going to affect the town, the taxes, this stuff to repair your roads, taxes to, it's going to have a huge effect. It's going to have a huge effect on a lot of these companies, and it's sad. It's sad. I don't know. Guys, it's time to prepare. It's time to prepare. It's time to get stocked up. Things that we see. Today I was at Meijer. I noticed on Tyson Chicken. So I was at Meijer today, and you will see in tomorrow's video at 8:30 in the morning Eastern time, as I put out a video every morning at that time. So if you forget to hit the notification bell, just remember 8:30 in the morning every day, we have something out here for you. So I was at Meijer, and I noticed they had some good chicken deals, but I saw a lot of Tyson chicken products that were on a buy one, get one for $1, like bags of frozen chicken. As I'm looking at that stuff, I got 2 emails from 2 of you out here about how these Tyson chicken plants were closing. And I'm literally talking about it in the video for tomorrow. So this is kind of a future, if you see tomorrow's video, I talk about that in the video. But this is kind of, right here is kind of a future preview of that video tomorrow, because we see a lot of Tyson chicken products missing at Meijer. And it was not saying that this whole thing is because of that. But it was just kind of ironic that there was a lot of empty shelves of the Tyson chicken, which Meijer is usually pretty loaded down on that kind of stuff. So we'll have to keep an eye out on some of this here in the future. But at the same time, it kind of makes me not want to give them my money, right? I don't like these kind of things. I don't like that you're going to destroy a couple towns by doing this. You come out and just say it. Sure, you got a few months to rebuild something in a nation that seems to be, its infrastructure of everything seems to be crippling, right? There needs to be better plans in place. If I was a major corporation and I knew that if I ran this out, this was going to cause a lot of harm for people in these small towns, then I would try and work around something. And I understand it's business. But don't lie. Don't lie and come out here and say, well, this is a numbers thing. This is, we gained so much. Like last year, okay, their numbers were like $750 million in profits. Now they're saying this year it's looking like it's going to be $437 million loss. Does that sound right to you? Does that sound right that a company that has made $750 million in profits a year ago is making that much less this year? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Everybody I see buys Tyson chicken, right? I mean, and I know you can't go by like numbers from me going to Kroger or some small stores or stuff like that, but I feel like it's not 100% truthful, and it's like you're doing something that is going to end the career of a lot of these people and probably force them to have to move. And you could say, well, that's not our problem, and I hope you wouldn't say something like that. But the reality of the matter is that it is going to affect these small towns. And we're not even into how this is going to affect the nation here. But look at the ethics of what's going on here. We have so many people that don't want to work. We have people that do want to work but can't get the hours. We have farmers that are already struggling to the extreme through prices of feed and everything else that they can barely afford to feed their families. And now, and then you have this other thing that just wants to get rid of farmers, right? And then we have this lab-grown meat. Is that the solution? Guys, there is so much going on right now that I can't even... this would be a 6-hour video, and I just cannot get myself to do that. I've read a little bit about some of the lab-grown meat. Does not look good. How they create it. I'm not going to go into how they're creating this because it sounds pretty demonic, when you start looking into it. I don't know. I'm sure if you're a scientist and you're watching it, please let me know down in the comments that this is safe or not, because the way that they're saying this stuff is described, just look it up. Just look it up. Some of you have left it in the comments, and I looked it up, and you were 100% right, and I was really hoping that you were wrong. I was hoping you were wrong. But it's crazy stuff, guys. It's crazy stuff. It's all part of a bigger plan, I think, that is going on with a lot of people that are well above my pay grade. And some of the stuff, like I said, I won't get into a lot of stuff on the channel here. But it's time to prepare. Make sure that you're buying up the sales as you see them. Get yourself a deep freezer. I don't want to pull the panic button here, okay? But we're seeing things every day now. We're seeing things trickle down. We're seeing things happen to where it's like everything seems to be falling in place for a lot of different things that nobody asked for even once. So these are the things that we need to pay attention to. But guys, thank you so much for listening to the rant. Make sure you leave your comments below on this matter. I feel bad for the average American that is going to be hurting from this, who's already hurting. We're all hurting. This is ridiculous. Like, we're hearing so many different things, so many jobs being lost, people that even have a job getting their pay cut in half or getting their time cut in half. It's just the same thing. It's like if I'm working 40 hours, you say, well, no, we need you to work 32 hours, right? Because we don't want to pay for your insurance or any of that stuff, which I think there's some law about that now. Not that it used to be years ago. I know that was something with companies years ago where it's like you had to have that 40 hours. Maybe it's not the same. Let me know down in the comments if it is. It could vary from state to state. Oh, that is good coffee. If you have not tried the original Donut Shop coffee, get a good deal on it. Wait for a sale. They have it on sale at Meijer, which I actually bought it there today. So, I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's crazy. I wanted to do thank you to who reached out to us on this subject matter here. I feel it's very important anytime of something that has to do with food, because this is going to ultimately raise the cost. I feel like every time we have like a little bit of a breather of what's going on in the grocery store, like prices staying at least at a reasonable level and not reasonable. I mean, not going up every 24 hours. I feel like every time we hit that notch, right? Where it's like, wow, Tyson chicken didn't go up for the second week in a row. Oh, well, now we got 4 plants closing. Now watch what'll happen. And you can watch us look at this every day because I will be covering this. Now Tyson chicken will start going down in price, right? And then at the start of 2024, we're just going to see it boom, right? Because it's not about the now. And that's kind of my point. It's not about what they're making now. It's about what they're going to make in the future. I guess you can say that that's smart business, bad business as far as why would I work for you? Seeing what you can do to someone. And I know there's been like tens of thousands of jobs like this over the years throughout America, but it's something that in the now it's very important because we are in some trying times. Things are happening every day. Things are colliding in a way that we need to make sure that we're prepared. We need to make sure we're prepared by having, some food stocked up. And I'm not saying just food all over the place. I'm just saying, like, make sure you have enough to get by in case something like this happens to you. It could be any kind of event. It could be bad storms. It could be you just lost your job of a place that you never thought you were going to lose your job before. Trucking company, Tyson, all these other, you could have worked for a baby food company because, good Lord, are there any employees in any baby formula plants anymore? Where, I'm not going to go into that. Don't worry. I'm done ranting. Oh, but it's just one thing after another, guys. We need to pay attention. Again, make sure you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, we do everything we can to keep you in the know of all these important matters. Guys, thank you so much for watching. With all that being said, I am out. Have a great night.